Rodrigo is a student of mine and is a perfect example of the money value of time. I don't think he could have imagined when we went to India that this is what you would be doing in 9 years. To hear his journey from ID to where he is now, please join me in welcoming Rodrigo Isasi.
Thank you very much. Dear ID community, dear graduates, perhaps the most overlooked factor in the traditional business world is the relevance of emotions. The fact remains that emotions drive our actions. They represent the most significant part of our memories, reality, and who we are. Unfortunately, this world of irrational rationality forces us to focus on to-do lists, ignoring what we are feeling, or even worse, what others are feeling. On the other hand, as designers, we are bound to deal with emotions, give rise to them, and be accountable for them. Please accompany me in this exercise. Think about how you're feeling right now. Look inside yourself and try to describe your feelings. Hopefully, they are positive, right? Perhaps you're feeling a sense of excitement, accomplishment, achievement, and pride in your heart. Or maybe anxiety and nostalgia for the friends and the life you have shared during these years. Every habit you have built has transformed you. And you know that you are no longer the same person, not only because of the tools and knowledge you received from these great masterminds, but also because of the connections you made and the challenges you have faced. You are now someone who is ready to unleash from the bottom of your heart all your energy out into the world. Please remember this feeling. Embrace it, nurture it, and keep it with you. You will need it, and the world will need it. I can see myself 9 years ago ready for a challenge. Sitting there in a world facing digital transformation, filled with excitement, surrounded by opportunities to be an entrepreneur and help organizations in this journey. But today we witness different times. We can see the cracks that abrupt impact of the past period breakdown and slow recovery has left in our societies. Therefore, it is a time to rebuild, where each activity we do will inflict change. And while that change came out through growth in the past, today it is imperative to bridge our evident disparity gap, whether newly created or just revealed, like if we as society have been wearing the emperor's new clothes. We are also seeing a polarization of opinions, intolerance, hate, fear. This design constraint will be present and persistent in everything you design from the years to come. But as my outstanding storytelling teachers at ID taught me, this is time to act not as heroes but as mentors. It is time to design a more humane and fair world. You will bring magical objects, artifacts, and solutions to transform that fear into purpose, joy, understanding, and calmness. Does this sound too idealistic? Maybe. Apathetic? Never. This is what ID is all about, and which is why I came here. And now let me share 5 takeaways that empower me and enable me to keep it up during these years. First, find and embrace your craft. When the design thinking movie came out, Marty Thaler invited me and some students to a private event viewing at Gensler, where other designers joined to watch and share the film. I really enjoy everything about that student outing, walking and chatting together from the old ID building in La Salle, getting there, the office tour, the screening room set up at the movie itself. Everything for me was a reaffirmation of being in the right place. Until this skate designer, sitting in the background, abruptly started a debate. Notoriously angrily, because he disagreed that a scientist in the movie who appears designing experiments could call himself a designer. I came to ID like other MDMs with no design background, so the imposter syndrome came to me and I questioned myself, am I a designer? Can I call myself a designer? Although the answer to that question may be obvious to you right now, it was a defining moment for me, after which I understood that designers need a craft. They need materials and a transformation object. And so I needed to find mine. And mine became the organization's culture. From that moment on, my creative energy expanded, and I committed myself to understand how culture works, how it can be shaped or modeled, and how it can be resilient and adapt over time. Leading a design firm of 200 people with my partners, and now a corporation of 12,000 people, it is about shaping culture every day through example and consistency, but most of all, with passion and explicit intention of creating an extraordinary workplace where people can make progress as professionals and as individuals. Ditching the cultural fit mantra to replace it with a cultural curation approach is vital. That means seeing each individual as someone who will contribute to the culture with their uniqueness and potential. So thanks, skate designer, wherever you are. Now culture is my craft, my material. Second, value ideas, concepts, intentions, and never be ashamed to bring forth those that have not seen the light. In my former workplace, they permanently cataloged me as a dreamer. Upon returning from a 3-year expat experience, I had this formal feedback meeting with my former and new boss. Both were wonderful people, and the feedback was really going well, until one of them made fun of me, saying I was like a hot air balloon they needed to bring back to Earth. I really often felt ashamed of this, afraid they would see me as someone who did not execute, someone who only brought ideas to the table. I think that is why I put in twice as much effort, and I spent many hours of my day working hard, but deep down, I knew that it was time that I was taking from my family and myself. Over time, I have seen no harm in flying. It is more than necessary to be that balloon that does not allow itself to be pulled back to the ground, because it gives you the courage to lead change. I also know how dangerous is the opposite, not to question, executing without an idea or intention. This is a direct path to mediocrity and even malpractices sometimes. Do not accept phrases that reduce your work to just ideas, just concepts, and just intentions. The world requires good ideas. In reality, we lack ideas, revolutionary concepts, and new solutions that can free us from false dilemmas and ideology myopia. Third, work with purpose. You know this one. If not, you wouldn't be here. So let me share my purpose. I genuinely believe that business is a good thing, something virtuous. It is the ability to organize people to solve a problem. It drives on efficiency, scale, innovation, and sustainability. However, it is an idea that has lost its drive due to the bad practices and prejudice exacerbated by political tensions worldwide. Therefore, I am committed to seeking change from within, using the strength of design and innovation to reshape the reality and build a contribution vehicle. Companies are part of a system. We must recognize that and ask ourselves how can we serve and put our capabilities at the service of this system. Fourth, nourish your communities of support. ID is a beautiful blend of diverse individuals who share an eagerness to create new meaning out of the simplest and at the same time most complex aspects of the human life. It is an excellent network of good people, wisdom, and affection. So please don't lose the connection. Stay close, come back in a while, and share what you are doing and what matters to you. Every time I have raised my hand seeking help from people in this community, I have had a response. Mentors, inspiration, critique, and of course a couple of beers in some city. I am very grateful because here I met my former in situ partners. I am what I am thanks to ID. Finally, don't keep it just for work. Don't deprive your loved ones of your magic. Don't become the angry comedian or the dull rock star. Reach out to your loved ones with empathy and create them a life that you don't regret. Be persistent. Don't try to be perfect. After all, every day is a prototype of the next. Never forget to communicate. Make their happiness and yours your craft. Please let me finish with a poem of Mario Benedetti and then a translation based on Paul Archer's one. No te salves, no te quedes inmóvil al borde del camino. No congeles el júbilo, no quieras con desgano. No te salves ahora ni nunca. No te salves, no te llenes de calma. No reserves del mundo solo un rincón tranquilo. No dejes caer los párpados pesados como juicios. No te quedes sin labios. No te duermas sin sueño. No te pienses sin sangre. No te juzgues sin tiempo. Don't keep yourself safe. Don't remain idly by the side of the road. Don't freeze the joy you should feel. Don't love with reluctance. Don't save yourself now or ever. Don't keep yourself safe. Don't be filled with a deep calm. Don't reserve yourself just a quiet corner in the world. Don't let your eyelids fall heavily as judgments. Don't lose your voice. Don't sleep without sleepiness. Don't imagine yourself without blood. Don't judge yourself without time. Thank you very much.